Hey, alright everybody, how's it going? Now I've just had a massive shock bill or estimate for doing brakes and a handbrake cable on a car. £500! £500! Right, okay, what car costs £500 to change the handbrake cable and the handbrake shoes? Well, it's a Nissan Leaf which is parked just by there, and they want to charge £500 because they say it's hell of a job. Now I've looked at it myself and I don't think it's hell of a job. If anybody has changed the handbrake cable in a Nissan Leaf and they think it's worth £500, let me know down below. But it is a little bit different to other cars. So I'm going to show you why a handbrake on a Nissan Leaf, a Mark 1 Nissan Leaf, is a little bit different to your normal average run-of-the-mill car. So it's not an electric handbrake, it's actually got a foot operated parking brake, and it is a little bit different, but it can also be a little bit easier if you know what you're doing. Right, okay, in the back of the car you've got to take the seat out, you've got to undo a plug by there, it's a little bit fiddly, undo the plug, then we can take this seat base out, you've got to pull it up at the front of the seat, and then it does come out. So let's take the seat out and then we'll have a look under the plate down by there, just down by there. Okay, so there's 4 10mm bolts dotted around this metal plate by here. There is something connected to it. When you go to take it off, be careful, just lift it up slowly, and then under this plate, which will come off in a second, I'll show you where the handbrake cable is. Right, okay, the bolts are undone. You can lift it up now and tilt it out of the way, like so, and then you can see, look, there's the 2 rear handbrakes, and the front one there, it joins together like that. I'll give you a little bit of a closer look in a minute. Now, the garage wanted to change that front one there that goes right the way under there and down to the foot pedal, but there's nothing wrong with that one because it's inside the car, so it's not seized up. The ones that are seized up are that one there. Now, the right one, I should say, yeah, the right one is the left one, and the left one is the right one, if that makes any sense. So the right one goes to the left side handbrake, and the right one goes to the... No, I said that wrong. The right one goes to the left handbrake, and the left one goes to the right handbrake, if that makes any sense. Oh, and if you're wondering why they're disconnected, we've been here last week to check it out, and we disconnected the handbrake because both these... Well, that one in particular over there is seized. This one's partially seized, so we've disconnected them. Right, okay, we got the wheel off, we got the caliper off, we're just taking the caliper carrier off, and then we can take the disc drum combined thing off once we get this caliper carrier off. And there's 17mm bolts at the back of that caliper carrier. Right, okay, you can see there's a lot of brake dust build up around here. We're going to clean that off now with some carb cleaner or brake cleaner. You can see that the brakes have been sticking on, so that's where all the brake dust and debris has come from. And then this is a bit rusty, this nut here, you've got to be careful you don't snap that nut because that's holding the handbrake cable. Then there's another one up there somewhere, I can't see it from here, let me put the camera down there, might be able to see. Up there somewhere's another nut, and then there's one more holding it on, and it's not this one, it's that one, because the right is the left and the left is the right. Right, okay, the handbrake's in. This bit had to be drilled because the nut, because it's all in the water, salt water, everything, this nut was rusty, the bolt I should say, so it snapped off. Had to drill a hole through it, then put a new stainless steel bolt through with a nut underneath. Let me try and show you under there. There's a nut. Down under there, and there we go. So there is quite a bit of rust on this car. I have said before, I think it's a seaside car. It's been, you know, next to the coastline, so it's got quite a bit of rust on it. Anyway, the handbrake cable is in. Bit of a pain in the bum, but it's in after doing that bit there. Okay then, so there you go. That wasn't a tutorial. I was just trying to show what it's like to change a handbrake on a Nissan Leaf. It's a bit of a weird setup because they got a foot parking brake, so the cable does go all the way to the front, so it does make it a little bit more peculiar. But it isn't that bad. It's a bit fiddly, but it isn't that bad. And obviously you've got to do the same on the other side. You've got to do the two sides. Now, I did say in the video that car was a seaside car, and what I meant by a seaside car is that car has lived by the coast most of his life. My father always used to say to me, never buy a seaside car. Anyway, and I suppose that was wise words, because the salt air, the salt water gets in the air and it corrodes the car a little bit more. That's why the backing plate had rusted away. Now, anti-EV people might say, oh, it's an EV thing. No, it's not an EV thing, and it's not from lack of use of using your brakes, because the parking brake gets used every single time you use the car. It just got old and rusty. That's what happened. Now, how did the garage rip us off even more than they did in the first place? Well, what it is, since I had my first car when I was aged 20, I have always fixed everything on my car myself. Brakes, gearbox, clutches, anything you can think of on a car, I fixed it myself. I've changed engines, I've done it all, okay? But at the age of 55, I got arthritis in my lower spine, and I can't bend down and sit on the floor anymore and fix cars. So my role in the job is to tell people what to do. So I was telling them how to do it, and show them what to do. How did they rip us off? Well, because I couldn't do the job, and I didn't think my son-in-law would be able to do it with me telling him how to do it. I said, it's better if you take it to a garage. So we took the car, he took the car over to this garage that was recommended by somebody to me, and we gave him the shoes and said, can you put new shoes on? Then they rang back up and said, we can't do it because one of the handbrake cables is seized, but we've changed because we had a new disc to go on handbrake shoes and pads, but we'd already done the disc and pads ourselves on the other side, if that makes any sense. Anyway, but he said, I've changed the disc and pads for you, but I haven't changed the shoes because the handbrake cable's seized. He said, I won't charge you for doing our one side. We thought, oh, that's nice of him, but I'll charge you when we do the handbrake all together. So what happened then was 2.5 weeks passed and they didn't call back at all to say they'd got the handbrake in or anything. So I went back over there and I said, well, what's going on? And they went, oh, we forgot, sorry. And then the other guy said, oh, no, we didn't forget. We phoned Nissan and they said that there was a back order on handbrake cables, right? He was making it up. He said it was a back order and they said they don't know when they'd have them in next. I said, that's a bit strange. So I got back home, got my son-in-law to phone Nissan and ask them if they got handbrake cables in stock. And have a guess what? Nissan had handbrake cables in stock. Anyway, the garage phoned back the day after and said, we can do the job for you. The handbrake cables from Nissan, he overpriced them because we'd already got the price the day before, so we knew what the price was. And he said it was £500 to change the handbrake cables because we've got to take everything apart in the car, blah, 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 right? So I thought £500 was too expensive, so I said, you're going to have to try and do it yourself. I'm going to tell you what to do. And I said, I'll ask my brother to come down and he can help as well. So the other part of the story is, I know I'm waffling on by here, but the other part of the story is when the garage had taken the disc off to check the handbrake and found out the handbrake cable was seized, and they put the new disc that we'd already given them on and pads, they had been driving around in the car with the brake caliper carrier bolts loose. The garage hadn't tightened up the bolts properly. We'd also supplied 2 new sliders for the piston to go back and forth. He'd put the old ones on and the new sliders weren't in the car to be found anywhere. And also there's a plug that goes on the drum, which covers where you've got to do the adjuster. That's gone missing. And he'd put the pads in and one of the pads was seized because sometimes when you buy aftermarket pads from certain places, you've got to find the tops and the bottoms to make it slide back and forth easy. They hadn't done that, so the person who recommended that garage shouldn't have recommended them, because they're absolutely awful. And I'm glad that they didn't touch the rest of the brakes on the car. Terrible garage, and they haven't long opened, and they got loads of business. Now, I've had run-ins with garages over the years, now and again, and they do tend, a lot of them, I'm not saying all of them, but some of them tend to be rip-off merchants, and they don't do a very good job. They do a terrible job. They didn't tighten up. The caliper carrier bolts weren't tightened up properly. You could undo them easy. So there we go. So that's why we ended up doing them ourselves, because can't trust the garages. So there we go. That's my bit of a rant at the end. So what do you think? Do you think the little part I showed you, do you think that's worth £500? You'd have to do the other side as well. You have got to take the discs off, blah blah blah. I don't know the prices of things in garages, because I never usually go to a garage, and they're not usually that expensive anyway. Like I said, it's not a tutorial, and that's the end of the video. If you did like this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ahoy!